How did we got here? That's a pretty good question because we are only a few days away of Heroes of Might and Magic, the Olden Era, and it has been since 11 years since the release of a new Heroes of Might and Magic game. So, how did we got here? Well, it was the year 1995. PC gaming was at a height, and there was a new hero in town, excuse the pun, because Heroes of Might and Magic came out on MS-DOS and was a success. Then, of course, we quickly got Heroes of Might and Magic 2, which upped the graphics, added more features, added more races, and was another big success for the company. Then, the crown jewel came out, Heroes of Might and Magic 3. People will still tell you that this is the best Heroes of Might and Magic game. Some people will disagree with that, but the game was an absolute mega success. So much so that they actually released it on multiple platforms and then made multiple HD remasters. So the game also got a few expansions, and even though, yes, the game had some balance issues, looking at you, Archangels, the game was been fixed over time through the expansions because, well, the game came out at a time where patching games through the internet wasn't really a thing at all. And the only time when there were balance patches and performance patches and all that was whenever there was an expansion coming out, and people would also buy that expansion to get the newest patch. So, yes, Heroes of Might and Magic 3 after time became really good also in the balance department. But yeah, Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was a mega success. So it didn't really surprise that Heroes of Might and Magic 4 would just release a few years after, to be more precise, 3 years after Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and came out in 2002. And that was definitely the first Heroes of Might and Magic where people were like, is it good? Is it bad? What is this? The biggest problem, though, was the performance. A lot of people were complaining about performance issues before the first expansion came out for the game. And in general, people were not really sure what to feel about the game. Nonetheless, the game was critically acclaimed and also did some selling numbers. So the chances of us getting actually a Heroes of Might and Magic 5 from the same company was pretty high. Problem was, the publisher 3DO was closing down, and the developer New World Computing was 100% studio owned by 3DO. So when 3DO closed down, New World Computing was also shut down, and that unfortunately meant the Heroes of Might and Magic license and the games would disappear into nothingness. Now, there was a ray of hope because the company was auctioning off their IPs before they were shutting down to make some extra money, and Heroes of Might and Magic was sold to Ubisoft for, at the time, keep in mind, I think it was 1.3 million US dollars or 1.7, one of the two. Not too important. Again, for the time, there was a lot of money for buying an IP. And the only thing what did matter is now that Ubisoft owned the series. And they immediately did go to work. They found a new developer for the series, and Heroes of Might and Magic 5 was released. That was the year of 2006. And depending on who you ask, you will hear people saying that Heroes of Might and Magic was a return to form, and people really enjoyed it, and some other people not so much. I personally believe that Heroes of Might and Magic 5 is an amazing entry in the Heroes of Might and Magic series, and I would even go so far to say that I played it nearly as much as Heroes of Might and Magic 3. So when that happened, I was actually really confident and happy that Ubisoft bought the license, and it seems like we would just continue to release more Heroes of Might and Magic games over the years, and everyone would be happy. Or, well, so I believed, and that belief would turn out to be wrong. Because 5 years afterwards, Might and Magic Hero 6, yes, Ubisoft changed the name because they also wanted to utilize the Might and Magic brand for franchising and having some other games coming out. Let me just tell you, that didn't work out. But whatever, right? Who cares for rearranging some words? The sixth game in the series came out, and it was an absolute disaster. No, seriously, it was bad. Performance, not great. Gameplay was very meh. And more importantly, Ubisoft at the time was slowly slipping into this panicking about pirates. They basically saw pirates everywhere, so they shoved as many DRM systems into this game, which did even go so far that when you wanted to go to a specific part on the map, you had to go through gates, and those gates were bound to your Uplay account. So if you were playing offline or you didn't have a Uplay account, the game was literally telling you, you don't get in here. Leave, you shitty pirate. I was like, what? No, I bought the game. I have the original right here. Yeah, well, you are not using Uplay, so guess you cannot go into this area of the map or using this specific feature we have. And it was like, wait, what? So you can imagine how people were absolutely pissed about it. And the game was just not good. So they also swapped out the developer again. And this time, Limbic took over, tried to fix the game as much as they could. But more importantly, they were working on Might and Magic Hero 7. 4 years after the sixth game came out, the seventh game was released, and it was unfortunately not great. It was clearly dumbed down. It was clearly getting a lot of budget costs. There was this weird graphical look to it. Like they used again 3D graphics, but it looked very gray and not very detailed. And the cities people love to go into and build up were just 2D pictures. Like you definitely felt that, yeah, okay, Ubisoft did not allocate a lot of resources to this Heroes of Might and Magic game and has basically given up on it. And that's exactly what we got. We got a Heroes which nobody believed in. Neither the fans, nor the developer, nor the publisher. And so it turned out that this should be the last Heroes of Might and Magic game for 11 years. Yes, that was in 2015. And this is why I think a lot of Heroes of Might and Magic fans were absolutely surprised when we heard, wait, wait. There's a new Heroes of Might and Magic game coming out? Like, seriously? And it looks very close to Heroes of Might and Magic 3, like a developer who actually cares for. And then, of course, the announcement that Ubisoft still owns the whole license and all, but they wouldn't be the publisher for this, but Hooded Horse, who also built up a very good reputation in the strategy genre and is basically everywhere when it comes to strategy games. And people were just thinking like, oh my gosh, this is a dream coming true. This is maybe finally a Heroes game which deserves the name Heroes of Might and Magic. Then people could play the betas, people could play the demos, and now content creators and magazines can already play the full game, and we will be able to actually play the early access version of the game coming out in just a few days. And looking at the community seems to be really, really hyped about this. It seems to be everything people wanted. And I think this is very important because let's be honest here. Yes, this is probably an indie game in the eyes of Ubisoft, and Ubisoft is not really too much involved into this, which, to be honest, here is probably a good idea. And all that coming together is really something the Might and Magic community needed. Because depending on who you ask, we didn't get a good Heroes of Might and Magic game for a long time. For me personally, the last good Might and Magic game was 5, and that was 2006. 20 years I had to wait for Might and Magic game I really look forward to. And some people would even say they had to wait even longer because after 3, there was never a good Might and Magic game again, which I find a little bit dramatic. But sure, everyone to their own, right? Like each to their own there. And so I cannot wait till the new game is actually coming out in just a few days. And let's just hope that this is the beginning of a great journey, which starts again with Heroes of Might and Magic, and we will get many more amazing years of Heroes of Might and Magic games. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, you want to see more Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era content, and of course strategy games, which is what we are focusing on here on the Mole Under Management channel, I would appreciate if you might consider to subscribe. With that said, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe. Bye-bye.